A client reached out to us. He paid 2 years of his tuition fee and did 2 years of GIC, that's the Guaranteed Investment Certificate. Take note that his program was 2 years, and yet Canada still denied him his visa application. You might be thinking, what went wrong? What happened? Calm down. Let me explain to you. We are going to be looking at the GCMS note together, and then we are going to really understand exactly what went wrong. How does the visa officer think? How do they look at this application? Here we have the GCMS note that we applied on behalf of the client to the IRCC. I have reviewed the application. I note the previous refusal. I know the tuition receipt on file and the GIC for a 2-year program at so college. The applicant assets and financial situation are insufficient to support the stated purpose of travel for the applicant and any accompanying members. Of course, that's what they usually tell you, blah, 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 in the beginning. I have reviewed the documentation on file, that is your visa application, and I am not satisfied the applicant has demonstrated how the tuition payment and GIC were funded. Take note, they didn't doubt that this applicant has money, okay? He had paid 2-year tuition fee, that's tuition fee for the entire program, and of course, the 2-year GIC, that's has enough living expenses for the applicant's entire stay in Canada while studying. And yet, they were still asking for more. Take note, I am not satisfied the applicant has demonstrated how the tuition payment and GIC were funded. While I note the fly-wire receipt, there is limited evidence to the accumulations of funds used to make this payment. I've always been telling you people, visa is not just about having the money in your account. How did you come about this money? Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ torí Ọlọ́run. Explain, how did you come about this money? You say, oh, I have 80,000 card, or I have 50,000 card, or whatever amount you have in your account. How did you come about this money? You have to explain transaction by transaction. If you said, oh, I got it from business, where is the company bank statement? Where is your personal bank statement showing the transfer of funds from your company bank account to your personal bank account? Where is your tax receipt to show the audit that you did? USD bank account on file shows some withdrawals, but deposits are mainly from lump sum cash deposits. What happened was this applicant presented the applicant's dollar account, okay, and then from the dollar account, what they were seeing there, they were seeing lump sum cash deposits, not bank transfers, not inflows, but cash deposits. Now, what had happened was that the applicant had Naira, from business and from other places. And then the applicant needed to, of course, convert that Naira to dollar, and from the dollar account, send the money for the GIC and, of course, pay the tuition fee. Now, but the problem is that converting your money from Naira to dollar can be a little bit difficult in our client. You want to convert your money from Naira to dollar, you have to go to meet the Bureau de Change, Most banks, most times, will not be able to do that for you. You have to meet, the outside at the Bureau de Change. Of course, these are recognized by the government. But now the problem is that when the Bureau de Change takes the Naira, when they are depositing in your account, your bank automatically records them as cash deposits. Not even whatever the narration, you must always see cash deposit there. And so the IRCC, the visa officer, was looking and saying, how did this cash deposit come about? It's not transfer, it's not from anywhere. The money, this cash you are getting that you are depositing, where is it coming from? That is another question mark. The visa officer then went further to say that I note the applicant has provided some receipts to demonstrate business income as the source of funds. That's provided invoices, receipts to show, oh, okay, these are the business transactions that I did to raise this amount. But however, they went further to note and say, the business income demonstrated does not appear sufficient to cover the over 70,000 Canadian dollars that was being paid. So basically, they calculated, okay, these are your business income, their money from the invoices. They added it up together and they found out that this is not even up to, the amount that you paid. Possibly the applicant may have felt, oh, okay, these are some invoices, just accept it that my business is operating. But they said, no, this is not enough. And then they went further to conclude and said, based on all these factors, okay, lump sum deposit, cash deposit, these are two different things, okay, The invoices, okay, total amount on the invoices not being up to the total amount that was declared for the GIC, limited source of funds or limited knowledge as to how these funds were accumulated. Based on all these factors, the visa officer therefore concluded that he or she has credible doubt or doesn't believe that these funds are indeed accessible and available to the client. Therefore, the visa application was denied. So you see that visa, when it comes to visa, remember, you are guilty until you prove yourself innocent. The burden of proof is on you, not the visa officer. And anything you didn't declare is not going to be counted. You are responsible for declaring everything that is supposed to be declared. Like in the case of this person presenting some invoices, if the applicant had declared all the invoices, it may be voluminous, but all the invoices, and the invoices were, more than up to or more than the amount to be declared, of course, it would have given, some better consideration. But not even preventing enough invoices, even went on to harm the person's case. And that brings us to another very important point. There are some documentation that you feel, is supposed to help your case, but they end up damaging you. Okay. So there are various examples of this I'm going to give in my later videos. Okay. This video is going to be like a series, but there are some documentation that you think is supposed to help your case, but can end up damaging your case or giving you a weak case overall. So again, visa is not luck. It's not happen chance. It's about strategy. I keep on repeating this. It's about strategy. Remember, at Green Agency, we're always here to give you this strategy, this guidance at zero application fee, zero consultation fee. See you in our next video.